everybody. It's the Big Thing Show. Well, that's familiar music. That is familiar music. And this is a familiar show, kind of. We're doing a show here. It's called The Big Thing Show. It's a brand new show. If you're watching this on Monday, thanks for joining us on a Monday. It's very nice to have you here. We're starting a brand new era in this crazy YouTube land that we're doing. So if you've been checking out the Goofball Show, you guys already know that we're doing this this new thing with the no schmobots, no donations, none of that. But that show, if we ever talk about movies or pop culture, you're lucky. Not going to happen on that show. However, on this show, the Big Thing Show, this is going to be that show that I think that you guys have been looking for a long time, where you're not going to have, and it's going to be email interruptions. It's going to be wonderful. But what you're going to have also is you're going to have pop culture talk, and you're going to have guests, and you're going to have me on this show more for sure. But you're also going to have other guests. And I figured out there's only one way to really do this show for the first show, for the introduction of the show that helped build this whole damn thing in the first place. And look at this guy.
Just a small contributor to the world that is currently being not only hosted, but engineered by
like
Kristian.
Champ.
So you say that it feels familiar to you. This entire operation feels alien to me, because I just came here and I sat down.
Right.
And I'm watching you run around back and forth. And the alien part of it is that you seem semi-competent with hitting the buttons.
Right. I've been taking acting classes.
It's unbelievable. I really don't even know if any of this stuff is actually plugged in.
We're not recording at all.
There's a 40% chance that you think we're recording and we're not. So
no, it's not 40. It's about there's maybe a 10% chance.
I don't know how. When did you learn all? Is there a Rosetta Stone? Is there a engineering for dummies?
It's called not going live.
It's just not going live.
It's just not going live. The live is the tricky part. Live is the one where you start to sweat because you're looking to, because the second something happens, It's like echo, and then 5 people will tell you, and then it's like can't hear you, and you start panicking like no one can hear me. But wait, can they hear me? Can they see me? And with this, it's like okay, you just watch it back, but it made me realize though how
this was recorded in 2019.
Yeah,
so everyone knows.
When we knew we both were leaving. We haven't left Collider yet. We were about to both leave Collider. You're going to leave first.
I'm going to take off. I'm out.
Yeah, you're gone. And then I'm going to say, look, give me a little bit of time. I need to scream about some theme parks, and then I'm out of there.
Ellis, I just need you to host Movie Talk for 2 more weeks.
A little bit.
Just get the heat off me.
Just do a little bit. But
Ellis, if you could just complain about not getting into Dollywood or Busch Gardens, just to kind of transfer, project some of that stuff.
How dare Van Halen's kid not selling me his album? After everything I've done for them,
what I did for your old man, and you can't give me a cut of your proceeds.
Busting my ass as a Van Halen fan for 12 months.
It's a great album, by the way.
Is it really good?
Enjoy it. We're talking about pop culture.
We are.
Mammoth WVH. The record is unbelievable.
Is it really good?
Unbelievable.
Good. We are going to be talking about pop culture, and I figured who better than to do it with you, because
there's probably a lot of better people.
We got. There's a lot we can talk about.
5-6 years ago, you had me right in the wheelhouse. I don't pay attention to anything anymore.
Dude, neither do I, except the stuff I want to.
Yeah, but I feel like you have more. You have more of a creativity slant than I do. Just because
I don't know, dude. I think you probably know more than me at this point with Rotten Tomatoes and everything that you're doing. Like I'm paying attention to Schmodown stuff, and then shit. Like, do you know what I watched the other day? Point Break.
The original.
Yeah.
Yes.
I watched it. It took me 3 days to do it, but I did it.
Well, see, that's how I watch movies now.
Like in spurts.
Yeah.
You don't have an excuse. You're just going back and forth between old Redskins games. Football, Washington football.
The football team. The Washington. Did I tell you? I might have sent this to you because I posted it like when the pandemic first started, and there were no sports.
Right.
So it's just going back and reliving the glory years when I was 2 years old.
Right.
I'm watching the '82 NFC Championship game, right? And it's us versus Dallas, and it's a good game in the first half. We start to pull away in the second half. The best thing I've ever seen, and I can't believe this isn't a bigger deal now. The referee. So I think Dallas is driving, and they're about the 5-yard line, and they're trying to punch it in. And Danny White throws a pass, it gets broken up by Darryl Green. So one of the refs is going to retrieve the ball. The other ref is being yelled at by a couple of the Cowboys. And the ref is smoking a heater while he's reffing. And get this, he tells them to go back
Disney.
to the. He flicks it into the end zone. He just flicks his cigarette into the end zone. Can you imagine?
No.
If that was 2021 and he's got a ref just lighting up like Joe Camel.
Yeah, no, you couldn't. That sets the time.
That was the 80s, folks.
Sure was the 80s. So movies in the 80s, dude, like the things that were watching Harry and the Hendersons not too long ago with my 9-year-old and with my wife. We hadn't seen it forever. All the time was shooting animals and the little kid's like, let me get the gun. He grabs the rifle and he's like, get me my rifle. And he's like, and the kid's like 6.
Yeah.
And I was like, today? No chance.
No. So when we're all in the theater watching that screening of the first John Wick movie, it was very sad when the dog dies.
Right.
But people, that is the impetus for an entire franchise now, because one poor dog ate it. Back in the 80s, your dog wasn't making it out of the movie alive. 50% of the time, Turner and Hooch not making it out alive.
No, a lot of that stuff doesn't fly, man. I'm still. You remember Fear? What they do with Fear in the movie?
Is that Mark Wahlberg?
You don't remember what I do in that movie?
I've never seen that movie.
Really?
I've never seen Fear, and I'm going to disappoint everybody further. I barely remember if I've seen Harry and the Hendersons. I know it's Sasquatch, and I know it's Lithgow.
You'd love that
Really
movie.
cool makeup. I probably enjoy the hell out of it.
That's such an Ellis movie.
It was always out at Video Update when we would go rent it. Because you go there and you have like your starting movie that you really want to rent.
Yeah.
So like we'd go there and we're like, all right, let's cross our fingers that E.T. is in stock. And it's like, I guess we're renting Mac and Me again.
Isn't that so foreign now, though, dude? How that works? Like my daughters are so spoiled. Like it's like I want to watch this movie from whatever. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Although you know, a movie I couldn't find. Pump Up the Volume with Kristian Slater.
That is the Brett Sheridan life story.
Have you never seen that movie either?
No, I have seen Pump Up the Volume many times.
That movie is
great movie,
phenomenal.
Yeah. You're kind of pulling a Pump Up the Volume.
Right now I am.
Right here.
It's true. I mean, it's ultimately what YouTube and podcasting is exactly what Happy Harry Hardon did in the first place.
It is very funny to go back and look at movies that were true harbingers of what is to come. Pump Up the Volume's right up there.
It is. It's absolutely. And it's the first time I ever heard of the Pixies. They have a great song inside of that movie. But anyway, yeah, that I couldn't find it streaming anywhere. It's like it's not on Amazon Prime. It's nowhere. I'd have to just buy the Blu-ray.
It's just out there in the ether.
Can't find it.
I just look at these kids, Kristian, these young pups that you and I are partially responsible for, the PJ Campbells of the world, the JTEs of the world, and they just
JT's like 60.
Upon collect, he's always going to be 15 years old to me.
Yeah,
I don't know when we met him. He's probably older than both of us. He's always going to be a 15-year-old kid that's lying his way into the studio.
Yes.
But they have all these Blu-rays behind them and all these steel books and all this stuff, and I used to have a big collecting bone in my body, and I just don't really have it anymore. And so if something, God forbid, becomes unavailable on streaming services,
you've got something. That's me. I've got a sad stack back there, but I still have a stack.
You can at least manufacture a shot to be competitive with modern YouTube culture, because it's close up. Now, if you zoomed out, you'd see a lot of other crap on Kristian's wall that is not Blu-rays. If you want to do this show from my place, we would have
Van Halen albums.
You'd have a couple of Van Halen albums. You'd have a couple records.
Right.
Both of them were given to me as gifts. The 5151 and the 1984 one that I have, the records.
Yeah.
I don't have a vinyl player, so they were just given to me as gifts.
I said, well, yeah. I mean,
any physical thing.
A lot of these were things from like the studio stuff, but this happened to be a lot of.
Yeah, you haven't watched most of it. The cellophane is on half those.
There's
things,
a lot of.
folks.
I'll tell you what I did do, and I talked about this recently. I had because I got myself a new Xbox, right? And people are like, "I get a PlayStation," because I'm not waiting 7 years to get a PlayStation. I tried so many different times to try to get the PlayStation.
We're on 5 PlayStations now, right? We're up to 5?
5.
And then what is this, an Xbox?
Something.
It's
a new one. And it plays 4K. That's all I cared about.
Right.
I only got these things, either one of them, to play 4K, because I got it. Like, well, what game did you play? I'm like, does the Rambo series count as playing video games? Because that's exactly what I did. I watched all 3 of them. And of course, it took me 3 days to watch Point Break. It took me 3 days to watch 3 Rambo movies. That's it.
You watched the first 3?
First 3, and because what I did, and I was determined to finish these movies, right? So I started here watching the 4K, and it's phenomenal. It looks beautiful. But then I was like, now I'm so into it, as much as I want, because then I went into the house, and I'm like, so then I found it on Showtime and finished, or HBO Max, or whatever. And I finished it, and I watched them, and the first one, still just a classic. Great. Second one is that where he like evolves into almost like a superhero.
Yeah.
The third one is terrible, but it's still entertaining.
So what is the premise of the third one? By the way, this is the question. This is a franchise that makes me the most nervous when you and I are asking a Schmodown question because we're anticipating a challenge.
Yeah, always.
With this one, it's like, what is the name of, the first time Stallone played Rambo, and you just know they're going to write Rambo or Rambo 1, and it's like, no, it's not the I can't give you the points. You got to say First Blood.
You got to say First Blood.
Or you got to say Rambo, First Blood Part 2.
Yeah, because if you say Rambo 1.
Because there's a colon in there.
Right.
And then Stallone probably taking sympathy on us, and especially you, his good Instagram friend, was like, I'm just going to call it Rocky 3. Rambo 3. Yeah. So what happens in Rambo 3? Because the first one, he's coming back from Nam, then he runs into some locals.
Yes.
Second one, he is called back into action because there's some POWs still in Nam.
Ish.
And then the third one, it's just like him versus the country bears at Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, I'm not going to let you step over Rambo 2 like that. It's too good of a movie. So he basically, he's in prison from the events of the first one.
Oh, right.
And then Troutman goes and gets him. And then he's like, you want to get out? He's like, yeah, I want to get out of this place. And Martin Cove, Kreese is in the movie, but he's one of the the mercs, the mercenaries. So he's on the side, and Murdoch is basically sends him on this mission to go, and he's supposed to just take pictures of the camp to find out if there are indeed POWs. And they leave him there.
Yeah.
So that's that whole thing where he goes, Murdoch, I'm coming for you. And he just goes nuts. And
so what? He beats the crap out of everybody with a camera?
No, he kills everybody because he goes and
he brings a couple of lucky weapons with him.
Yeah, well, he meets the girl, and she's like, and she says to him, he goes, I'm expendable. She goes, what mean expendable? And he's just saying, you ever go to the party and you get invited and you didn't show up and nobody really cares? It's me. And she's like, you're not expendable to me. And he's like, yeah, and she dies.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
She was expendable the whole time.
Hence the Expendables. It had to be where he got the movie.
The whole franchise is dedicated to her.
That one moment on the boat. It had to be. But so he, and he gets left there. He causes havoc. The funny thing, a lot of people, this is for a younger generation. They're not going to think this is cool.
I think they already tuned out
a long time ago. But for you and I, you will find this cool.
Which PlayStation are they on now?
Are we recording?
Huh?
Are we recording right now to people, or are we just talking?
Are we live?
It's the second conversation you and I have had live in person, minus just watching ESPN.
Yeah, but here's the other thing that we forgot to mention to the audience is that, yes, there's a good chance Kristian forgot to hit the record button.
Yes.
There's also a fair chance that you actually hit the go live button. So we're actually streaming live right now.
That's also true.
I love broadcasting Facebook Live from my pants when I'm across the street from Collider.
That's true. No, but what I wanted to... I know that you're a fan of this movie.
Okay.
So the main Russian bad guy in Rambo 2, let's see if you can... Do you remember them? You clearly don't remember.
I don't think I've never seen First Blood Part 2.
Wow. All right. So the main bad guy who plays a Russian is Victor Maitland from Beverly Hills Cop.
Yes. Which I have seen.
Yeah, and so I know you love that movie. So anyway, so your answer after a long-winded description of the second film. The third movie is the Troutman finds him fighting in where is he, like Thailand?
Yeah.
Rambo's like just like the early stages of MMA. He's beating the crap out of people with bamboo sticks.
He's Jason Bourning it.
Absolutely.
It's where you always find these guys.
Or Bourne is Ramboing it because Rambo did come. That movie was
That's fair.
1989.
That's fair.
So he's having this fight, and they approach him, and he's just hanging out with monks. He's like, I don't want to fight anymore. They're like, yeah, we got it. We're going to Afghanistan, and the Russians are over there, and they're doing all this because that was right in the heart of '89. And Troutman goes, and our boy Kurtwood Smith is basically tells him, yeah, Troutman went and he got caught.
Oh,
so
no!
Now he's trying to go get Troutman out of
So
Afghanistan.
Oliver North sends Stallone to go get Troutman.
More or less.
That's
it.
I do know this about Rambo 3 is that it was at the time it was the most expensive film ever made. It was the highest budget, and just if you're going by the chronology of the release date, it held that record for all of I think 3 weeks or 3 months.
Wow.
Because then Who Framed Roger Rabbit came knocking, and that was the most expensive movie ever made until Terminator 2.
Well, no, Terminator 2. Well, 89, no chance. Batman. The first Batman '89 wasn't as expensive as Rambo?
Did not break. No, more expensive than Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Who Framed Roger Rabbit was 88, and it grabbed the mantle. Who Framed Roger Rabbit, summer of 88. See, the only reason I know this stuff now is if I'm doing research for Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
So, and this is one of the things that, and when I say doing
you'll
research,
you'll lose this information in after a couple of edibles. Yeah.
It's absolutely gone because I'm not the one actually doing the research. I'm reading the research from people.
You're giving this right before you go on the air.
You would love this guy, Mark Hoffmeyer, who does all the research. Yeah. I should send you the research just because it's going to be fantastic toilet reading for you.
Yeah.
He goes so far down rabbit holes, and I'm like, I can't use all this stuff in verses, but I love reading it. So it is just the fantastic stuff.
Right.
The 10-point Schmodown questions I could answer, unlimited, for about 10 seconds, and I forget everything.
I would love to have a research guy. I think that's something.
Call Hoffmeyer. He loves it.
I definitely.
It's his crack.
I would need that because we have a lot that we want to talk about. I mean, just getting into it. Look, this is what you're going to get on this particular show where the goofball show. I don't know. We'll just talk about whatever comes up. But this will be.
Oh, is this not the goofball show?
It is not.
I'm curious about the schedule. I'm curious about the scheduling, about what these shows are called.
In general?
Yes.
So this show.
I all I do is I read your emails that are clearly voice to text.
Absolutely.
Like,
do you know how much easier that is for me though? I don't care about errors.
I know you don't
care about errors.
I know you don't.
Do you get the gist of what's coming out?
And I'm telling you this as your friend.
I don't care.
I speak fluent Harloff.
Yes.
So when I read it,
you understand it.
I understand it.
Right.
I don't know if the rest of the staff does.
Is anybody else here? Do I invite anybody else?
No.
Do I need anybody else to come here?
I'm not coming here every day.
Oh, yes, you are. I didn't let everybody else know.
In the voice
Mark
to
Ellis
text?
is going to be on the show every day because, as you noticed, that song that we played too, by the way, was the old Schmoes Know theme, and it was well thought out. We thought about this months in advance of that when we launched this show. That's exactly what we were going to do.
Yeah, right. We said, hey, let's make sure that we don't play the classic Schmoes Know theme, not because we can't find it or remember the name of the composer.
Right.
Because it's buried somewhere in some
we wanted to change it up.
holding.
No, we wanted to change it up, and we thought about it months ago, as opposed to I think 5 minutes before we went on the air. This is Schmoes Know Pop Punk, and the artist that did this was back in 2015, and it reviewed later, who probably isn't even fans of ours anymore at this point.
No, we bled a lot of those kids away.
Yeah, I'm sure they all grew up. But
I do run into, because now that I'm a little bit back out in the world, you see, like after comedy shows, you'll see people come up and they're fans, which is great. But the majority of them I meet now, the thing they open with, the line they open with.
School.
I was in high school and watched you.
I got that a lot.
Oh, well, here's your Werther's.
Got something from somebody, this company that we're working with for Schmodown stuff.
Coors Light?
Nope. Her brother is a big fan. And she's like, yeah, he was inspired by Schmoes Know, and that's why he went to film school, and he's 50 now. And I was like, no, but he's a lot of that type of stuff. But anyway, so that's what Mark and I decided. And as far as the Big Thing show goes,
I'm not here every day.
Not here.
Maybe once a pandemic.
Once a pandemic. But we did know. We know what it was. Is that Mark was here when before the pandemic, and we were doing SEN Live. Mark was on at least once a week. So we were like, look, because this is pre-taped and because we're going to have these shows that we can do, if the shows go an hour, they go an hour. If they go an hour and a half, whatever. That's the whole point of the pre-tape, is that we can put it out there, let you guys know. The main thing for you all to know, and this is very, very important. Oh, there he is. Please go to the podcast channel. This show, the Big Thing Show, will be on the SEN Live podcast feed. So if you're already subscribed to the SEN Live podcast feed, you're going to get that show. And that is, we don't do Schmobots, we don't do Super Chats or Streamlabs or anything on that show. So what is going to help us grow is by you guys making sure that you subscribe there and download the episodes. And the other thing in regards to that is that this show is going to now live on the new SEN YouTube channel. The link is in the description. We're going to air this on the main channel for a while, August 2nd. All of the non-related Schmodown shows are going to transfer over to the SEN channel, and that is in the link in the description. So make sure you subscribe to all the podcast feed. But look, having Mark on...
It's a good threat. It's a good threat. Hey, you don't want Schmobots? You don't want, then you subscribe.
Right.
Then you subscribe.
That's it.
And you tell everybody about it. You want to let Tongue Punch Fartbox come back and take over? You want to let Hobo Cleveland Steamer come back?
But that's still there. That's still there for SEN Live. Because people do like to.
I do enjoy getting bombed by Schmobots. I have a working relationship with the Schmobot.
Because it is fun to interact with the audience, and it's fun to talk to the audience and have that. And that's not going away. It's just going to happen instead of 2 hours. It's going to be an hour, and it'll be after this show. Right. So if you just want the conversation, and people are like, well, you don't do enough movie talk or pop
pop culture talk, and I thought there was a way to do both, to where we can talk, laugh, have a good time about it, but still talk about it, like whether we're talking about Rambo or Fast and the Furious. Which, did you see the new one?
I've not seen the new one yet.
Okay, let's do this then. Yeah, go ahead. Tell me.
What are we gonna do? You sound very.
I was gonna do is I was gonna put a picture of the new movie, and then I realized I never downloaded it, so I can't do that.
Have you seen the new picture?
I have not. I got a screening for it. I didn't go yet.
I had offers, and I was just, it's very kind to be invited to these things, and I was just busy that night for whatever reason. So I did, for the Rotten Tomatoes is Wrong podcast, have to watch Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift.
Tweet.
Kristian Harloff.
It's a good movie.
It's really fun.
It's a fun movie.
And the racing scenes, that's the thing that impressed me about that movie.
You're so predictable, by the way.
What?
When you tweeted that out, I was like, there's no way this guy interrupted another documentary on Van Halen or a game to watch this movie. This is for work.
It is funny because I watched it over 2 nights, as you do, and it was after the NBA playoff games had ended for the night.
Yeah.
So I watched the first half and I was loving it. Then the second half even better because the racing sequences in it.
It's really good.
Justin Lin directs the hell out of that because it would have been so easy to say, oh, well, it's the third one in a franchise. We don't have our stars back. Let's just cut corners and just get this thing out, direct to DVD. But you can tell that race down the cliff, the climactic race, is so long that you easily, if you're Justin Lin, you could have been like, look, I just want to get this thing in the can.
Yep.
But he put so much love and care into it. And Sung Kang is Han. Whew, I loved him the first time I met him, and Bow Wow's great in it too.
Yes,
great cast.
What about your boy Lucas Black?
I enjoyed Lucas Black in it.
I just thought that was fun. Did you think about Bateman while you watched it?
I did not.
Really?
No, because that was one of those questions when it came up in the Schmodown where, for whatever reason, even though I hadn't seen the movie, I knew that he was the guy in it.
Me too.
Now, I might not be able to have pictured Lucas Black in a lineup. Like if you put all the Friday Night Lights.
Sling Blade, man.
No. Mm-hmm. Why am I going to see Sling Blade when I'm 15?
Great flick.
What am I doing? I hear great things.
It's good stuff.
I hear John Ritter's fantastic.
That movie made $150 million opening weekend.
It did.
No, it didn't.
It made money because people kept going back to see it.
Not opening weekend.
No, it was not.
Yeah.
It was not James Cameron's Aquaman.
It's James Cameron's Sling Blade.
James Cameron's Sling Blade. I go see that.
Here we go. I was going to say Michael Bay's because he just walks in with like even slower motion.
James Cameron took 10 years to develop the technology to turn Zoe Saldana into an actual blade.
Billy Bob Thornton was 18 years old when they started filming. He was 47 by the time they finished.
But yeah, Tokyo Drift is great. And so now, ironically, because the newer ones, I get the attraction of it, but I like them better when they were more racing with a crime element. The peak was Fast 5 still to me, but now, so immediately after I finished Tokyo Drift, on my phone, I was just sitting there, and as Tokyo Drift's credits are rolling, I pull up every post-credit scene for Fast and Furious, because they were doing this stuff even before the MCU was, in some cases, or at least the end stinger where it leads to the next movie. So I rewatched the Jason Statham one with his introduction because then he looks like he's the guy that T-boned Han.
Right.
And then when I watched the Fast 9 trailer again, Han shows up, and I'm like, I am so into this movie.
But you're more locked in because it's the reason why
it's family. I care about.
And you've been yelling at me about this forever. It's why I care more about TV because you get more invested into the characters. When you have big franchises that go 9 episodes, or 9 movies, you're more locked into the characters, like any good television show. So that's the same reason. But to go back what you said with Fast and Furious, I think that the reason why it also it changed. It depends on what part of it you liked, right? Because the first movie was essentially a Point Break ripoff. It was, I mean, because he was Johnny Utah, Paul Walker, and he has to infiltrate and do all that. And that's what it was.
Tokyo Drift has some elements of Point Break too.
Absolutely,
it's got a lot.
The first 3 movies are, and then the 4th one starts to shift, but the 5th one is when I think they did that. They did that very smart. That's why they make billions of dollars off this franchise now too, is because they've changed it into, look, this is a comic book movie now.
Right.
You have to accept that, and nothing is realistic. Apparently, the new one is just completely off the wall bonkers, like even more so than any of them before. That's just a lot.
Yeah, you're basically taking a car and you're turning it into Indiana Jones at his peak. And a couple stories that came out of my research, and again, when I say research, I mean reading other people's research while I'm having a bowel movement, is I read that Justin Lin met with Vin Diesel because he was trying to get Vin Diesel to somehow be involved in Tokyo Drift.
Right. He's at the end, right? The credits?
He's at the end because basically, if you haven't seen the movie, spoiler alert, is that Lucas Black ends up defeating DK as Sean beats DK as they go down this epic mountain, and then he's the new king on the block because Han passed away.
Right.
So we think. So at the end of the movie, he's back at the garage in Tokyo, and everybody's hanging out, like where they do their street races there. Yeah. And Bow Wow comes up, and he's like, "Yo, this guy wants to race you," and he's celebrating. He's like, "No, I'm done racing for tonight, man. That's cool." And he's like, "This guy says he knows Han. Says Han was family." Kristian George, when I heard Bow Wow, who's very underrated as an actor, given this movie,
he coined the phrase, huh?
When he said Han's family, I got chills.
Yeah.
And then Sean gives him a cool look, and he's like, all right. And so he pulls up, and then you just see the car. And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, Vin didn't show up for this movie, though, so it's just going to be a cool – they're going to show the car, and we're all his fans going to know who's in the car, and then it's going to end. Nah, Vin's there. Yeah. And then it ends with him just, boom, zooming off into the night. So I'm reading this, and Justin Lin was trying to recruit Vin Diesel to do something in there. And apparently one night at Vin's place, Justin Lin and him just sort of mapped out where it could go. Yeah. And so the bulk of what you see in F9, I imagine, is not only based on Tokyo Drift, but it's based on that night. Another fun tale is that sometime after Tokyo Drift, Justin Lin and Sung Kang, who plays Han, are hanging out somewhere in California. They're driving up north to do something, right? They stop at an Arby's, which is my highway pit stop as well.
Yes, it should be. Yeah.
And so they get out of the car, and there's a bunch of teenagers hanging out at the Arby's. Again, that's what I would do if I was a teenager. They all
Who's to say you weren't there that night?
Recognized Han, and they like wanted his autograph and pictures. Yeah. And both guys said that's when they realized how important and significant the character of Han was.
Yeah.
And so I think right there the seed was planted, like, hey, maybe this guy isn't totally dead.
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't have to. Everybody survives. I mean, like in those movies, who's really Letty came back.
As soon as Letty came back, all bets are off.
All bets are off. Everybody can come back. I mean, even they said Gal Gadot isn't coming back, but even
they always say that
anybody can come back. Mm-hmm. It's like a soap opera at this point. But what was the other thing that I always forget because they kind of blend in. Did Lucas Black already come back, or he's coming back for F9?
No, he came back for some sort of cameo, I think in like 7 or 8.
Okay, is that what it was?
Yeah, but then I believe he's coming back for 9, and I think Bow Wow is too, and then obviously Han. So, because they're all family. They're all welcome at the barbecue.
Is that why you watched the third one, because it ties into the 9th?
I watched the third one because I had to.
I know, but I wasn't
it was
sure.
Homework.
Right, but I wasn't sure if they made you watch it because it ties into the 9th.
Yeah, because that episode actually is probably going to drop later on this week, and so then it leads into Fast 9.
I do wish that they would put the Universal movies on streaming the way like Disney Plus and HBO Max are doing, because
Universal doesn't have.
They should do that, man. Right? It makes it so much easier for people. I know that people push back on it. I think that the theaters are going to bounce back, and I thought maybe they were going to be in.
Going to be a big bounce back with Fast 9.
They're going to bounce back, and people are going to go see them in the theater, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's going to hurt if you do what HBO Max has done. I hope HBO Max doesn't change what they've done so far,
releasing the big time movies
at the same time,
the same day.
Go see the movie if you want. If not, for the families, like that's the whole thing. Is that my wife and I we get to the theater together if we're not going to like our screening or something.
Oh, for families,
that's what I mean.
It's a nightmare.
And even the Disney Plus, like I think the problem Disney Plus runs with doing it is when they did it for Mulan. Mm-hmm. Mulan's just not that good, right? Like I wound up paying the money for Raya, which was great. Even though I'm a Disney Plus subscriber.
Did not see Raya. Saw Mulan. Thought it was. I dug Mulan. But again, I barely remember if I've seen the animated Mulan.
Right.
So I had no sort of context going into it. I wasn't missing Eddie Murphy like I probably would have if I had seen the animated version.
Yeah, but Raya was. You should watch it. It's fantastic. And what I like about what they do is that it's not one of these things for Disney. And the reason why I did it was that if you get it. Mm-hmm. It stays on your service. It doesn't like disappear after like 2 days. Like if you go to Amazon Prime and you buy a movie, you can only watch it for like 2 days and then it's gone, right? with Disney Plus, if you get the premiere, you have to buy it for the first time. It's like $20 or $30, whatever it is. But it's on 3 months before it debuts. But it stays on your Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Right? HBO Max, on the other hand, you're subscribed, you get it. Like Conjuring, I've been watching, we can talk about it.
You and I are both old manning our way through the Conjuring.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Conjuring. We'll talk about that too. What the hell is it?
Yeah, we're definitely talking about that.
So
He-Man trailer.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about He-Man also. But the Conjuring.
Oh, is that what that was from?
Yeah, it's
because I saw you bring that random picture up pre-show, and I saw you fiddling around with everything.
Yeah, but do you know that character is on the right?
Is that Ed Warren? Is that the priest?
No, that's the real dude that was that.
Oh, that's the dude. That's Arnie.
Yeah, it's Arnie.
Ooh.
So I'll tell you, like I just started watching it the other day, and I love the first two movies. Mm-hmm. I love the first two Conjuring films. Really, really enjoy them. And I think I gave the first one when we saw it like a 5 out of 5, and you were shocked at the time because I was never given a 5 out of 5 to a horror movie, and I just thought it was brilliant. I love what James Wan did with it. I love what he did with the second one, the chills. You can tell that James Wan is missing from this film. There's no doubt about it. I don't think it hurts the movie in a way that I was out of it because, and you can also tell that the Hayes brothers did not write this one.
Did they write 2?
They wrote 1 and 2 with James Wan.
Yeah.
They did not write this one. And you can tell that also. But I was wondering if it was going to make it like, this is nothing like it. This is like more so. Because I don't like a lot of the spin-offs that they did. Like the Nun.
I got pretty into Annabelle Origins. That one surprised me. That one came out of left field and really surprised me.
Okay, I didn't see it. But I
still haven't seen The Nun. I don't know if I will, just because people think that I love horror movies, and so anytime
you like good horror movies.
No, I do enjoy horror movies, even bad ones. Okay. But the thing is, when you say that, when you put that statement out there, people just assume that you can handle it and that it's not going to scare you, and that's why you like horror movies. And it's quite the opposite,
right?
Because I would get freaked the F out by horror movies. Yeah. That's sort of the weird attraction that I still have to rectify once I get a therapist.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
I don't know why I do, but it will keep me up at night. Yeah. I live alone. Occasionally there's a dog.
When I saw Paranormal, I tell the story all the time. When I saw Paranormal Activity 3.
The one with the oscillating fan?
Yeah, man. When we went to see that screening, I remember my old place on Orange Grove was that garage in the alley, and it was like super dark. And I don't ever get freaked out by shit like that. But when I saw that one, I'm like, get me out of here. And I like ran out of my garage, I was like, I don't know if I locked the door, I don't care. And I just went as fast as I could. And I was like, because this jumps back into The Conjuring. The thing that freaks me out about these movies, and the reason I think that I like them, is that they're based on true stories.
Yeah.
Now, when we say true, we don't know if the supernatural element is true.
But
the story itself of what happened is true. And so, for those people who don't know what happened in this film, or this what the story is about, the Warrens
got this little kid who's possessed.
The Warrens were called in for this little kid. He was 8 years old.
Yeah.
And he was possessed.
Usually the devil's go-to is, I'm going to possess a little kid because that's an easy win.
Right.
It's going to get me back on my feet. I haven't been up to earth in a while.
Yep.
Let me just possess something easy. I'm literally going to take candy from a baby. And then if I get challenged, somebody pisses me off, like the priest in The Exorcist, like Father Marin, or like this teenager, Arnie, and they say, jump into me, I can take you. Then the devil's starting to be like, okay, well, I hunted the 8-year-old. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling ready.
Here I go.
I took my
let's
medicine.
Dance.
I'm getting into an adult body now, and I'm going to rep some shit up.
But that's what that guy did. So there's documented history where what they were there, the Warrens say that this thing happened, the demon was coming out, and then Arnie grabs the kid, tells the demon, leave him alone, take me.
Yeah.
So then the demon apparently leaves the kid. Arnie finds himself not feeling well, going through the same things, again, documented, not just in the movie, they do this in the movie, but in documented history says that he started going through the same exact things that this 8-year-old was going through. And then one day, he's having this argument with the landlord of, I guess, his girlfriend, the shop or whatever it is. He winds up killing the guy, stabbing him like, 40 times or something?
He went hog wild.
Yeah, so they find him, and then the Warrens get involved again, and what they do, in the movie, I don't want to spoil it, but in the movie something happens where someone's in a hospital or something. That I didn't read anything about that, and I don't know if that was true or for just dramatic purposes. But anyway, and this is all the stuff that not spoiling because it's documented, right? Like, so this guy that we just showed the picture to you, this guy on the right, Arnie, they picked him up, they charge him, and they're going to give him the death chamber because this is the first murder ever in that town, by the way, that they'd never had a murder in that town ever.
It's an Amity Island situation.
Yeah, and so they take this guy and they charge him, and so the Warrens get the attorneys to bring it to the judge and plead that not guilty of demon possession.
It's the first time that was tried in the United States, which is weird,
right?
Because a country that was so founded and predicated upon religion,
yeah,
really, that's the first time we played the devil card. I'm not saying that it was real ever, but that's the first time we played. It took us to the 1980s.
But what's crazy about that is I'm sure people have tried before that. The question is, inside of that,
the lawyer's like, hey, guys, that ain't gonna.
But in the movie, this part of it, this is fun because this is the lawyer's not buying it when the Warrens are telling them, and Ed Warren says, look, how about this? You come over our house, you look at some of the artifacts that we have, and we'll show you Annabelle. And then he just cut, and she's representing the kid, and she's like, yep, okay.
I haven't made it quite that far, but yeah, just
it's like 15 minutes into the movie.
I am at maybe I missed it then because I'm at the part where they show up to the super old retired priest house.
Yeah, it's after. That's after.
Oh, okay. Guy looks like Tom Kite, former golfer.
No, that's John Noble, dude, from Lord of the Rings, and
yes, it is. Yeah,
eating the chicken.
So he's like explaining the stuff that he's been through, and that's where and I didn't stop it willingly. I had to leave.
It's funny.
So
It's exactly where I'm at. I'm around that. Did they go to the basement yet?
they're in the basement.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm literally paused in the basement.
Yeah.
So
that's where I am.
Yeah, I mean, I
said no spoilers. Sorry.
I don't. Here's my problem with this movie coming this late. Is if this is because the way they sell it is like the Warren's most famous case, and like all this. And I'm like, well, if that's your most famous case, why wouldn't you come out of the gate with that? Why do we have to wait 19 movies to see your most famous case?
Because
quotes.
Famous case doesn't mean creepiest.
Yeah, but this is demonic possession. I'm just saying.
So was the first one.
How many times have the Warrens been down this road?
A lot.
You're saying they never put something there.
You mean
they never? I have turned into Walter Peck from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I understand.
You know,
look, Brett and I were talking about this on the Goofball show recently because we were talking about like time travel and what we believe and all that kind of thing and parallel universes and everything. And I said the same thing I say about this stuff. I don't know. I don't know what's real. I don't know what's like just the fact the idea of demons, the idea of it. Is it? I mean, with all this other proof, I don't know.
Fully agnostic is the guy talking to you right now. But I will say this. I love the way that they sold this movie with that line from Ed Warren, played by Patrick Wilson.
What's the line
where he says, every time there's a court case, you swear in a Bible, which is acknowledging the existence of God. It's time we acknowledge the existence of the devil. Which, like, if you told me, if somebody came down like, no, there is a God, and like I got the proof, I got the dossier, and I'm like, oh, that is actually God, then I would definitely believe that, okay, there has to be a counter to God. It can't just be all good afterwards because you got to have some sort of, if God's there, you got to have some sort of punishment in the afterlife.
Yeah.
You know, God, I can't imagine God's just going to reward everybody the same.
But that's the other thing though too. Is I mean, this is more of a pop culture movie show more so than a religious talk. But also the question is, who's to say that he's, you know, what we're doing here and all this bad stuff that happens, that's
hell?
That's the evil. It's not necessarily hell, but that's like okay, handle it. Like, this is. Do what you got to do it right, and then I'll see you. If not, you got to keep doing this over again until it's right.
Pretty sure having you engineer a show all by yourself, that's some circle of hell.
Oh, 100%.
For the both of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know, speaking of which, though, I didn't even notice because we were talking about these parallel, and this does tie into films, because I hadn't even heard about this movie. This Mark Wahlberg film that's coming out.
Infinite?
Yeah, man. Mm-hmm. This is all I've been thinking about lately. Our parallel universe, and you know how forever I've been talking about parallel universes to you, but like I've been really thinking about it a lot lately, like as far as how it correlates to death and you know your consciousness and all of that, and that's ultimately what this movie is.
I thought that was just like he keeps like emerging again through time.
He's lived and died over like 1,000 times. It's like reincarnation.
Boy, that's a lot.
It's a lot, and he's but it's like. Chiwetel Ejiofor is the main guy in it, right?
Well, Mark Wahlberg is the
main guy. I thought like his rival.
I know very little about it. I don't even know if that movie is that opening in theaters or is that just Paramount?
Right on Paramount.
Plus,
I want to see that movie so bad.
Oh, really?
I'm going to try to get a screener for it, but that's the first thing I'm going to try to. But if not, I will sign up for Paramount Plus for a day or for a month in order to see that movie.
Well, you're going to
really want to see
sign up at least 2 nights.
What else you got?
No, you're going to need 2 nights to watch the movie.
Oh, like 5 nights to watch.
You're not blowing through that movie in one take.
No,
all those lives? No.
The amount of time.
I'll give you 10 lives a night.
I can't. I can't do it unless it's like something. I was watching those A&E wrestling docs, and that took me a couple of days to do. And I've been watching those, but I've been watching a lot of those. We watched all of Mare of Easttown, which was phenomenal.
Mare of Easttown was great.
Really, really good.
Oh, it was so good.
It was really good.
Poor Cody Hall.
I know.
Just right in the forehead.
Yep. Sorry for spoilers for everybody. I'll put it in the title. We're Mare of Easttown spoilers. We'll talk about it. We'll do it.
All right.
Hey, we did it.
Fair.
I'll put it in the title.
Fair.
It's fine. Right. So it's fine. Did you have and again, if you have not seen Mare of Easttown, besides that part of Cody Hall getting in the forehead, then you're going to be spoiled if you haven't seen Mare of Easttown. So you might want to come back and we'll put time codes on this. Did you guess who the killer was?
No.
I didn't have it. Normally, I'm pretty good at these things.
I did not.
All the times we've gone to the movies, and I'd be like 30 seconds.
You're pretty good. I'm horrible at it.
30 minutes in, I was like, that's. I thought, and I was hoping it was not going to be Guy Pearce some way, because Guy Pearce is always the bad guy.
Oh, that could have been interesting.
And I was like, come on. I'm like, just let him be the boyfriend. Just let him be the boyfriend for once.
They never even really hinted at that in the show, because basically every episode of the show is Kate Winslet running around, drinking Rolling Rock, saying water, and then at the end of the show, at the end of that episode, it's like, oh, but maybe this is the killer. Person. Never happened with Guy Pearce. No. And so he never even came on my radar as somebody to
Only reason he came on my radar at all because it was Guy Pearce.
Because it's Guy Pearce.
That was it. Like, not anything they set up in character, just the fact that I was like, oh, wait a minute. This is, and I kept saying to my wife, I'm like, I'm going to be pissed off if it's him.
You go back and you think about some of the lines he has, though. Like, she's asking about how come you never wrote another book. Yeah. He's like, I only had one good book in me. And he's, like, teaching. Then he's all of a sudden leaving.
That's why they don't really ever set it up to the fact that he is a suspect. They never do. You're right. But it's like there's things in your head. You're like, well, he just got to this town. But the thing is, she was with him on that night. But then she left. Did he show up? And all that. But the way they set it up with the priest, the death of Cody Hall, as you will say, or Evan Peters, that was a very Departed moment. You know, when Leo gets it, and when that happened, my wife and I were, but they don't give you enough time to grieve.
No,
because the second he goes, it was very Silence of the Lambs, like when she's getting chased around the house by Buffalo Bill,
right?
And she's like scurrying for like the weapon at the very end. That scene was fantastic.
It was Sam Jackson getting eaten by the shark halfway through Deep Blue Sea, and you're like, oh God, what are we gonna do? We don't have Sam anymore, but the shark's still coming after us.
That's right. We got to make sure that we're okay, because like that. And you cared so much about him because he was one of the more likable characters on the show. Plays a great drunk. Dude,
Evan Peters.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
that
his drunk scene
at the
is
bar,
really good. Yeah,
that's one of the best scenes I've ever seen of anyone playing drunk. It was real.
Yeah,
it was like, this is what I'm supposed to do when I'm drunk. I wouldn't be surprised if he was hammered. He was so good at it.
I was gonna say, like, I don't hate that as a risk for an actor. Now you need the appropriate budget. I would talk to, if you're the director and I'm the actor, and I come to you and we have a rapport. We've been in it, so I'd be like, look, let's try this.
Yeah.
And maybe what I would do is I would try to film it sober first, and then I'd say, okay, let's just leave the cameras. We have a bar set anyway. We're not shooting anything else after this.
Right.
So let's make that the last scene of the day that we shoot. We'll do it a couple times sober, and then let me just get hammered for 2 minutes. I'll come back. And let's see how we do.
Yeah. I think that's happened many times over. I'm sure Val Kilmer was tripping balls during The Doors. Watched that recently.
You think Johnny Depp maybe had a couple fun things during Fear and Loathing?
100%. And
I think the whole crew might have, too.
Yeah, and even Rum Diaries, too.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't talk about that movie.
Jeff Bridges in The Big Lebowski, perhaps?
Maybe just stoned a lot. I don't know.
If they're real white Russians. I don't know, but these people, they're so good at acting.
I know.
You really don't know.
No, and even Again, I can't go into full detail. I told the story. If people didn't tune into the Goofball episode, I talked about how I met Gary Busey twice.
Yeah.
Recently.
I've been informed.
I spent over 3 hours with him in 2 meetings.
How many meatball subs that guy has?
I asked him about that. I asked him about that story.
In Point Break, he tells Johnny Utah, give me 2.
And then he puts his head out the window and he goes, Utah, 2.
Yeah.
I didn't realize until I watched that scene again how crucial that scene is to the movie.
Yeah, it's they're literally on a stakeout and they punch out. They call a 20-second timeout to go get meatball subs, best I've ever tasted, and then here come the ex-presidents.
Because it's such a great shot by Catherine Bigelow. He's ordering the subs. He's there and he's not even paying attention. And you look in the back and the ex-presidents pull up and they jump out of the car. But then Utah turns around for a second when they're gone. And he just sees the car and he turns back around, didn't even notice it. And then you go back, and there's Busey just cracking up at the funny papers at a cartoon, as Busey would do. And he's looking at it, and he's just like, when did the car pull up? He's like, what car? And then they come running out, and then it goes down. But I asked him about that. And
meatball sub looks so good in the movie too.
It's so good. And I asked him about that scene because he recited it word for word, and he said, "There's a shop right down the best meatball subs you ever had. Go get me 2. Utah, 2." And he did the whole thing, word for it, as if he was in the car. Like, he still got it, right? Like, and I was like, wow. And he told me, he goes, there was no dialogue in that scene. That was all improv. And I was like, I'm telling I believe it. I'm telling you, no. When you have if you hear me doing the impression of it, you'd be like, I don't know. When you hear it out of the guy's mouth, because there's another thing that I told you. I don't know if I told you this. This is my favorite. So we're in the middle of talking, phone rings. You need to get that. And I said, no, it's okay. You should pick that up. That could be Santa Claus.
That's more in line with the Gary Busey I expected. But with somebody who is that off the rocker now, I just don't know how to disseminate anything.
I can understand that. But when he started talking about his movies,
does he actually lock in? Does he actually engage a little bit?
And about his movies? Yeah. He was like, he didn't miss a beat when it came to the dialogue. It wasn't like he was trying to recall he knew it, and he knew it well. And he knew it. He remembered the scene. He remembered where he was. He remembered what he was doing. He remembered how the shot, everything. It was pretty fascinating.
Some people they get to such a level of notoriety that they feel like, and especially actors, they're like, this is the person that people expect me to be all the time.
Yeah.
So maybe he's a little loony and he plays it up. Maybe he's very loony and that's just who he is. But it's just hard to, as just having a conversation with him. I just don't know where it goes. But I do have a 10-point Schmodown trivia question.
Go ahead.
What comic is he reading?
Oh man, is it Archie?
Nope.
No.
These are why I call them 10-point Schmodown questions, because they're ones that just stick in your gray matter that are completely unfair to ask. It is Calvin and Hobbes. Yeah.
Should have been my first guess.
Yeah. Oh, Hobbes.
Yeah.
Just having a ball.
Is that what he says?
Watching Calvin and Hobbes, yeah.
So I don't know how we got into Point Break and everything.
It's usually going to happen if I'm on the show.
Yeah, no, it's true. But just going and watching those movies and like there's so much. Mare of Easttown and going back into the release schedule. I think of what we're really talking about is that I think that the other one is Into the Heights. That comes out this weekend, right?
Well, it came out this weekend. Yeah, depending on when we're.
This is going to air on Monday. Yeah, so it just came out. So I guess
so used to live broadcasting.
I know. Yeah. Did you see this one yet?
I did. Yes, I saw Into the Heights.
So let's get into that because I can even tell because people are going to be tuning in to this on Monday. This will be the first show that they see on this channel on Monday. They'll probably have just seen Into the Heights. Let's give a Mark Ellis review.
Well, you know me with musicals, where I will go into a musical kicking and screaming. This is not my kind of movie, and then inevitably I walk out and I am singing and dancing and just feeling the vibe. That's what happened with a movie like La La Land. I still have not seen Hamilton, but I did go ahead and see this, and it's just so good. It is just so well done. It feels, first of all, I think you'll love it because it does feel so authentic to New York and to a borough and to preserving the rich tradition of that place. Yeah. And the music is so, I'm not going to be driving around listening to the soundtrack necessarily, but it's just so good.
What's it about?
So basically, you have it's what a lot of real New York neighborhoods
Yeah.
are struggling with is the gentrification of things, the things just not being the way it used to, and so you sort of be concerned about losing your own culture, or you start to lose in the sea of Chili's and Starbucks and stuff like that. And so that's sort of a purpose in the movie. Then you have a lot of little relationships that we're kind of focused on, but the grand scheme of it is it's just this broad spectrum. It's this wide swath of the melting pot that is New York.
Yeah.
And so if you want the prototypical New York movie, I think this would rank right up there with anything that I've seen. Just
Heard
because
phenomenal stuff about it. And,
Yeah.
and it was the one that made Lin-Manuel, can't get his name out. Miranda, I'll just say. But
Dr. Miranda.
Lin-Manuel Miranda. But he
Eminem.
yeah, this was the one that made him.
I believe so.
Yeah, because it was the one that was selling out and doing it, and then Hamilton came, because after watching our good buddy Andrew Freed's
he's crushing
he's
it.
crushing it right now.
He was at the Masters.
Yeah, he was.
He was at the and that is not an easy tournament to
No.
get that kind of access.
having
to.
dinner with him this week.
Are you?
Yeah.
Because he had dinner at the Champions Dinner, the Masters,
I know.
which nobody's ever.
I got to have him
go
on
to.
now. I got to have him on this show. I gotta have him
Yes.
on this show, because that's so.
You guys going to that Italian place?
We are going to an Italian place, but not that one
Okay.
that we went to. A different one. It's one that he suggested.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Go
But
get 'em.
that is another thing for people who are wondering, what you're going to get on the big thing show. You're going to get
Mostly God versus Devil talk.
Absolutely. But you're going to get this. You're going to get these conversations, like Mark and I are having, about pop culture in general, what's going on, movies that are going out, movie reviews, TV reviews, all of it, right? But the other thing that you're going to also start to get are guests, new guests, new people that we haven't talked to in a bit, people that we've never talked to before. All of that. That's what's going to happen on this show. And as I mentioned earlier, I think that the most important thing is, if you're enjoying it, and I'm sure we're going to get a lot of people that are commenting on this show like, oh my God, this feels like the old school days, and I'm so excited to see you guys talking movies again. We get it.
It's like the Friends reunion.
But we get it. We understand. Just understand that this is a huge risk, because
it's a long drive.
Well, but it is a long drive. But it's a huge risk because I have better news for you on that long drive thing in just a second. But this is a huge risk for us, because we are we're not doing donations, we're not doing schmobots on this thing, so we are relying on you guys. Even if you like this, please go to the SEN podcast feed, subscribe to that feed, and that is where you will go ahead and help us out by doing that. But we're looking at a place, looking at a place that potentially even closer to you, that next year that you don't have to take that drive.
Okay, well, because the studio you told me about, I was very excited
Yeah,
for.
that's the one.
And
Don't say anything.
The dining establishment next to it,
Yeah.
that is
yeah.
pretty well known.
Yeah.
No longer. Demolished.
They got rid of it?
Demolished.
When?
Yeah, and so that is literally right across the street from the gym that I work out at. And I always make the joke at the
Wow.
gym, like if I have to go run around the block or do sprints or something outside, I'm like, I'm just going to McDonald's.
You know what's funny about that? Thanks for.
Well, it's not there.
It's not even there.
It's
You
not
don't
there.
even know.
Nobody's going to know.
That's true. Any McDonald's.
Yeah.
You wanna go. But the funny thing about that is,
I don't know what they're building there, but it ain't going to be a McDonald's.
when I went to look at a second time, I walked by and it was, and I wonder when they got rid of it, because I probably walked by and didn't even realize it was demolished.
Yeah, I don't know if the sign is still there,
I don't know. Either
but
way.
I'd have to go back and look. Yeah, but anyway, it looks like a cool space.
Yeah. So
What's
that's
funny about that is that I might start going to a gym that's on this side more often.
Oh, really? Well, that's good. I mean, that's good though, because
just
we'll be.
life
But
swapping.
we're gonna be doing from this location for at least till the end of the year. So.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, there's more stuff and there's other things that we want to know from you guys, like what you want us to review, what you want us to talk about, because as Mark said before, we're not going out and going to be doing the way that we used to back in the old days, going to see 3 or 4 movies a week. Mark is seeing stuff for Rotten Tomatoes, and if there's stuff that he's seen, we'll talk about it. If there's shows that we've watched, stuff in pop culture, and that's another thing that we should definitely talk about. We talked about
there they are.
We talked about The Conjuring, but we're going to talk about this now.
Did you catch the Exorcist homage, the doff of the cap to the Exorcist?
In the beginning?
Yeah, when dude gets out of the car.
Yes.
When the priest gets out of the car and he looks at it, I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
you got out of the way early.
Yeah.
Well done.
This was not The Exorcist. This was not sent from demons.
Skeletor, pretty fun.
This was sent from angels. This show, I'll tell you that. The He-Man Masters of the Universe show. It's Kevin Smith, which is Schmodown competitor Kevin Smith.
Very good Schmodown.
3-0 Kevin Smith, playing at the Schmodown Collision
Number
on
one
July
contender.
31st. That's absolutely right. But they released this trailer last week. and I haven't really had a chance to dive into it.
Do you want me to dress up as Prince Adam when I announce that match?
You should.
I'm going to dress up as He-Man.
We'd have Koi Jandreau be He-Man.
We're not going to have me be He-Man.
No.
Yeah.
It's great. This trailer's great. Now, you and I have gotten into many riffs about He-Man before.
In this very studio.
We've gotten into it about. Now, seeing this, do you kind of understand where I'm coming from?
I love how unapologetically 1980s this
even
trailer is.
Need a
and Bonnie
hero.
Tyler.
Yeah.
And it just feels exactly like the old cartoon did. And that was what
really?
was so exciting.
Less cheesy.
To me. I'm not watching the cartoon when I'm in college. I'm not watching the cartoon when I'm in my 20s. I watched it when I was 5. And so putting my adult eyes on this.
You still see it the same way you did when you were a kid.
It was the same way that when I was a little kid, I'd see it on TV.
That makes sense.
But as far as me personally, I just don't.
It's just not yours.
It's just not there.
First of all, Mark Hamill sounds fantastic as Skeletor.
He does, and it's very exciting, and just the animation quality looks cool.
Yeah.
But again, I'm looking at this in 4K or whatever the hell it is now, versus when you couldn't really make out as much stuff on the old little fatback TV that we had in the 80s. This, Again, I don't know how to tell adults that this is your He-Man, this is the one you want, because I'm an adult and I was a fan of He-Man, and I just do not care about the lore enough to watch this show. It's cool, but it's just...
To me, I think that this is going to get people that are curious about it because it doesn't look cheesy, and it looks like they're taking it serious. It looks like it's based off of the original... Like, remember, people don't understand about Masters of the Universe is that it didn't come from this 80s animated series, which I love, but it didn't come from that. It came from the comic books, which eventually turned into the toys, which eventually turned into the series that became popular. And I still, as much as I love that series, because it was a pop culture kind of phenomenon at the time, I prefer the 2002 Cartoon Network, which a lot of people didn't see.
Never saw it.
I prefer that, and that actually seemed, and it was funny when I was talking to Kevin Smith about it, he actually said that maybe inside of lore that it continues more inside the lore of the 80s show.
That's what it felt like to me.
The lore does. The look and the feel feels way more like the Cartoon Network. Like it doesn't. And I know Orko's in this one, and by Griffin Newman, by the way. So Griffin Newman is Orko. Yeah. So.
Adam Ray is doing some voice.
Okay. Tiffany Smith.
He's not doing the voice of Tiffany Smith, but he's doing a voice. Okay. He might have already done a voice on another He-Man iteration. I think he's either like Cringer or Battle Cat. I can't remember. I gotta ask him.
So, trivia question about Adam Ray, which you probably know if you talk to him enough, but which iconic character does he play on television?
Iconic character on television.
Yeah. See if you can guess.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we were talking about it. Vince McMahon.
Yeah, plays Vince McMahon in Young Rock.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Is that Adam Ray?"
Yeah,
as Vince McMahon. I was like, "This is when I do miss the Schmoes No Show because I would say to you, hey, get that guy in the studio and let's talk about him playing Vince McMahon."
He's the only person that it's not
Vince McMahon.
It's not a full Harloff because you do voice to text. So what Adam Ray and I do is he's the only person I do this with, really. I've done it with you occasionally. The voice memo, just because we just mess with each other for like 30 seconds to a minute.
Yeah.
And so I'll do his impression of Tony Danza at him, and then he'll attack me with Alf.
Yeah.
And we just have these like stupid conversations. But I was actually just talking to him not too long ago, earlier today, about this club up in Seattle I'm going to go do.
Okay.
But because I just want to have somebody who's been there for context.
What's he doing in He-Man?
He's a voice.
You don't know which one though?
Yeah, I think Cringer or Battle Cat.
Who's doing? Oh, is he really?
I don't know.
Let's look. I'll look at the.
Check it out. Yeah,
I'll look at the cast.
And is Orko a wizard? Because Orko looks much more powerful than I remember him being.
Yeah, he's always had.
I remember him being
like another dimension or something.
He's kind of like Abu the monkey Aladdin. Is how I remember.
Yeah, he's like
him.
a wizard. He's got magic and stuff too. Let's see. He-Man. Let's see. We're gonna go to IMDb and we'll bring up the series. Is this the new one?
We are looking right now.
That's the old one.
That's the old one, Kristian.
So, it should be first bill. I get it. But the new one,
this one felt like the 1980s one to me, and it felt like it was going to lean into it. It's not trying to half-ass it and then try to update it. It's like this one felt like it was trying to take adults back on a trip into their childhood.
Yes. I felt for sure. No doubt. But what I I just think that it just didn't seem as cheesy as the 80s one. See, I'm going to go to...
When I was 5, I didn't think it was cheesy.
Neither did I.
Wasn't
But
sitting there
when you go back,
with a cigar, like,
let's see.
this
so
movie.
I'm looking at it. I'm trying to find... Where the hell is it? All right, there it is. All right,
Cannot
so
believe you put this whole show together.
I know, and I can't even find it. But
IMDb
the animation's fantastic. It's really good, and the music's really good. Here is the cast that we have. So Chris Wood. I don't know Chris Wood. He plays He-Man. Kevin Conroy is Merman. Dietrich Bader.
You tell me the performer. I'll tell you something else they've been in. So Kevin Conroy was obviously.
Come on, get there.
Kevin Conroy, was he Batman?
Yeah, but how great you can just tell by the way that Kevin Smith is helping cast this thing because he's a massive Batman fan. He cast Conroy, and in the same thing, he's got the Joker with Mark Hamill.
He's got Mark Hamill, he's got Dietrich Bader, who was also on the Drew Carey Show.
Right. So who is Liam Cunningham?
Liam Cunningham is Captain Friendzone from Game of Thrones.
Absolutely, but what does he play in this? What'd you think?
No, he's not Captain Friendzone. He's I can't remember.
No, he's not Captain Friendzone.
I know who he is. He's Davo Seaworthy.
Yeah, he's yeah. So who does he play in this? Do you think?
He's got to be Man at Arms.
He is.
Okay.
All right. So I mean, this is an easy one. Let's see if you can guess who Sarah Michelle Gellar is.
She
What a cast this is.
She's either She-Ra or Tila. I'm going to go She-Ra.
It's Tila.
Okay.
So Lena Headey is in this, and who would you cast her as? Come on.
This is an easy. Can't remember the name of. Is she a bad one?
Yeah, she's Evil Lynn.
What's her name?
Evil Lynn. Yeah, Mark Hamill skeleton. Yes, amazing.
Her name was Lynn, and then they're like, I don't like that Lynn. She's kind of evil.
No, she's evil. First of all, the fact that they put Stinkor in the show is great. Remember Stinkor, the skunk?
He was one of my favorite toys, and I was nervous buying it because my mom told me that I might have to get a bath in tomato juice if I smelled him too much.
Who would you think should play Stinkor?
I'd have Lewis Black.
Think not a bad one, but think inside of the Kevin Smith universe.
Oh, Jason Mewes.
100%.
That's pretty great.
Yeah,
that's pretty great. And a lot of this casting too, it's getting our generation.
Yeah. Stephen Root is Cringer. Alicia Silverstone is Queen Marlena.
I enjoy her apple cider vinegar gummies.
What a cast! His daughter Harley Quinn Smith is Lena.
Nice.
Alan Oppenheimer,
who built the bomb.
Wasn't Alan? No, Alan Oppenheimer was Megatron, wasn't he? Henry Rollins is Triclops. Where the hell is?
I do like Henry Rollins.
It's great. Let's see some other ones here. Let's see. This is where I got to put my glasses.
Who is Tiffany Smith voicing?
That's what I'm looking at. Let's see. We have Griffin Newman is Orko.
Great choice.
Yeah. Henry Rollins, Stephen Root, Tiffany Smith is Andra. So I don't know who that is. I don't see Adam in it.
Yeah, maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just talking
out
my
made that
ass.
up. Yeah, I don't see him in it.
I want to have famous friends like you.
But Justin Long is Roboto.
Right.
This is
Kevin Smith guy.
Yeah, he's got a lot of Kevin Smith guys.
Who's Affleck and Damon voicing?
Yeah, they probably pop up as somebody. And I'm gonna do something like, hey Kevin, if you win the championship, I got to voice someone. This is a hell of a cast.
One of our fans is going to be successful in directing movies, and they're going to call us one day to do it. To have us. No, they're going to be like, hey, we need like 2 homeless guys on a park bench.
Oh, like freaking Trading Places, like
yes,
Coming to
that's
America.
Exactly who we're going to be.
Yeah,
we are going to be not Waldorf and Statler, but Randolph and Mortimer.
Yeah,
that's us.
Exactly right. Man, dude. I was thinking about this. If you had $500 million in the bank,
okay, it's a rough estimate.
Would you be able to step away from Would you be able to step away from stand-up comedy and live wherever you want?
No, I might live wherever I want. I might not go. I'd probably go up as much as I do now because I don't go up as much as I used to.
But that was the deal, though. Someone said, "I'll give you $500 million, but you can't be in front of the camera anymore. You can't talk anymore. It's $500 million. You go wherever you want. You do whatever you want."
I'm pretty adaptable when it comes to lifestyle, as the last year's taught all of us. But a big part of me being able to adapt so well into the pandemic and not having stand-up was the fact that I did have cameras at my house, and I can broadcast whenever I want to. So, yeah, I probably am saying thanks, but no thanks, and I will die miserable alone in Planning Lists.
Let me tell you, this is your friend. You're an absolute lunatic. I'm gone. You never see me again.
No,
I'm gone.
I
am gone.
I know what you're trying to do right now.
I am going to be on a beach. I will donate to charity. I will
Sure you will.
I would. With $500 million, $100% I would.
Sure you will.
Save some dogs. But what I would, but you never see me again. No thanks. Don't need it. I'm out. Give me on a beach.
Don't want you to take the deal, selfishly, because
how much weed I would have?
I do not want to get. I do know exactly how much weed you'd have, which means I'm going to get even more of these inane texts at 3 a.m. or your phone calls running bits by me.
Text. I send you a jet. Come over and hang out. That's it.
You would literally fly me to Hawaii just so you can run bits by me.
That's it.
You would use me as your audience.
I don't need bits.
Yes, you. I know how your brain works.
Do you understand that I'd probably be in VR for the rest of my life if I would be.
So you are allowed to perform.
Allowed to? No.
I think no. I think if you're getting $500 million, you can't be on camera.
I said no.
You can't do voiceover.
I said no. But I said if I'm talking about VR. I'd be doing.
Oh, VR. Yeah.
I'd be doing programs and I'm gone.
Here's why you want me to take the money.
Because I don't want to hear your jokes. I like your jokes.
No, it's because you want to borrow it. So you can build your empire, and I'm going to be the fall guy.
And you can invest.
Yeah, and that's the pitch that would actually get me.
Yeah.
Because I'm such a nice fellow that not because of my own desire to retire.
Right.
It is you saying, hey, I mean, we could really.
I don't think you understand that if I had the ability to just sit back, still help people, I would do it. But nah.
I'm not going to give you the Godfather $500 million offer, but I'm going to say, hey, you're going to live very, very well, but you need to take a step back from the camera. I think you would still get such an itch.
I'm not saying that
to come do live schmoedowns.
Of course.
To come to
my kids, but my kids are taken care of. They're healthy. Yeah. I don't have to pay for. I don't have to worry about money for my family at all. Everybody else, immediate family, okay, forever.
Yeah.
Good.
It's about me some Morton's money.
Sure. That's it.
You don't even have to go. Hey, Kristian, I'm at Morton's and I'm running up a tab. Can you Venmo me?
That's all it is, man. I'm telling you, like when you get older, and you have it literally is the only thing. All right, I got to make this work because I need this to make sure. Like when I'm telling people to subscribe and do anything for the business to grow, also it's because I also need to make sure that my family's going to be safe.
Right.
Because you don't know, you see people dropping dead left and right. Got to make sure my family's protected.
Yeah.
And so that's why if someone says, yeah, you're good.
I feel you. I feel you. I share a dog. I have the same struggle.
It. Yeah, it's true. It's the same exact thing. There's no difference.
I ran into your better half on the way here.
How'd that go?
Great. But you feel people out, and it's like, hey, you want to do the hug yet?
Yeah.
You good with the hugs? You're not good with the hug yet?
Not good with the hug yet.
I'm like, it's all right. But then she asked me how's it been going for you? How's your year been? And as soon as she asked, I knew what she was talking about.
She wanted to know how long you've been.
She wanted to know if I'm in a relationship.
Oh, is that what she was?
She has the most pinpointed.
Oh yeah.
She has sonar.
Oh yeah.
She has heat-seeking missiles, and she wants to know. And I was like, I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't have any news to report.
I've been hanging out with the dog, watching TV for the last year.
Yeah, which is somewhat of a significant other to me.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
Is there, before we wrap this thing up, is there anything else kind of coming out? We talked about Into the Heights, which you liked a lot. How many schmoes do you think you'd give it?
Oh, I'd go big.
Yeah?
I'd
5 out of 5?
I'd probably get close.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're both liking the fact that it's pretty funny that we both stopped at the same spot at Conjuring 3.
Yeah, 100%.
That's funny.
And if I can make it halfway into a movie, I feel like I'm doing well.
I like that. Yeah, and you've got no excuse though. I for me, like I would have watched it. Here's what happened last night.
Okay. Yours is probably more of a dramatic explanation.
100.
I got good excuses.
Let me tell you how my day goes. Okay, so I get in here, and right now there are emails and texts coming in that I'm going to have to answer by the time this is over. So this is what people.
Don't worry, folks. I'll film it and put it on Instagram.
Yes. When people ask me, how come you don't do SEN every day? Because it gets backed up. But I was like, by doing this, maybe it's a solution, but it's still going to back it up. So I answer a bunch of stuff. Before you know it, I'm like, okay, I got to answer all these things. And before I'll look up, and it'll be 5:30. Got to go in, help with the kids, do the dinner, do all that stuff. Get the 3.5-year-old in the bath, which is like putting a cat in the bath sometimes, and it depends on the mood, right? Back and forth, working with the family.
Just like when we used to bathe JTE, come into the studio.
When did that happen?
Just get off the circus hose.
It's like that scene in First Blood when they just wash him off.
Yeah.
But then around the kids start winding down. Well, winding down. We start to put the first one away in the around the 7:30, 8 o'clock until she winds down. My wife goes in there with her. Then the other one starts reading, playing games. So both of them aren't sleeping, or the oldest one isn't out until around like, I don't know, maybe 8:45, 9. But I'll send her to my room, let her read, do her thing, and I'll watch the news. I tend to watch a little bit of the news and then maybe find something. But at that point last night, I was like, you know what? I'm going to stay away from the news and I'll start watching The Conjuring because my wife doesn't want to watch the horror movie. And by the time she comes out to watch some stuff, it's over, right? Because unless I come back here and watch it, but I'm not doing that.
So you're setting your barometer for.
I know how much time I
get an hour out of it.
I think I got about 30 or 40 minutes.
Okay.
And then she came out and she said that when we finished Point Break. And even that got interrupted 1,000 times over because then the other one, because my oldest couldn't sleep. So she came out and started talking. I'm like just slamming my head into it. I was like, let's go. Let's try to finish this thing up. And then it's 11 o'clock. I'm exhausted. And for some reason, I'm waking up every day at 6 o'clock. It doesn't matter if somebody is awake or not awake.
Yeah,
I'm up at 6.
That's your body just telling you.
It's just
you're ready. You're like John Rambo, where it's the training kicks in. If they put John Rambo, I don't care if they give him a camera.
I'm the guy on John Rambo's squad that steps on the first mine because I don't know where I am. And he's, what happened to that
guy? You're the guy that had the camera before Rambo going back into the jungle.
Yeah, I'm the one that steps on the mine. He goes, don't step there. He's dead.
Rambo telling your family that you stepped on him.
Yeah. He told me, you make sure you never step in the thing. Didn't finish the Conjuring.
And your wife is like, where is he?
I told you, he's stepping the mine.
Is he at the bar?
Yeah. With Tagnino.
Gucci.
It's a Gucci.
Yeah.
Had a great conversation with Frank Stallone. Did I tell you this?
No.
Had a conversation with Frank Stallone.
Wow.
For about 45 minutes.
Coordinated by Gucci?
No, I don't think he even knows him.
I'd be
says he does, but
big letdown.
It could be interesting stuff for a Frank Stallone appearance maybe down the line.
He should do music for us.
Could be an interesting conversation that you and I are going to have about Frank Stallone.
Okay. Okay.
But there's so much. This is fun. This is the big show. We got a lot of stuff. The big thing for you guys.
That's how we do the show now. We review the first half of a movie we saw.
That's it.
And then we say, well, maybe we'll finish it at some point.
Look, what you're going to get out of this show is you're going to get us talking about movies and pop culture, and that's more than you got on SEN or anything else too. So that's you should be happy with it. We're going to be talking about all these things, and I was so happy to get He-Man. He-Man was a lot of fun, but this is. I
was happy to see people happy on Twitter about it because I saw it dropped this morning. I saw the trailer dropped, and I saw a lot of people gushing about it, and I'm happy that they have their thing. I'm not trying to take their thing away from them, but again, I'm an adult and I just can't do it.
Yeah. I'm wondering, now that we just pre-taped this, should I drop this tomorrow or should I drop it on Monday? What do you think?
This is what you do every time. You just get so excited.
I'm talking it out.
You're literally talking yourself. I'm a horrible sounding board because I don't know what you're trying to do.
I don't
know how many shows you want.
I think Monday. I think Monday's better because I think that from Monday it starts off the week. People can start giving us their feedback. So then this week you'll get this show and then you'll get Goofball at least once a week. Then we'll start easing into it. A reminder to everybody, once again, that you have to go on over to the new SEN YouTube channel and subscribe because this show, Goofball Show, Sith Council, Inner Geekdom, SEN Live, it's all going to live there now. So we need that. We're going to build that channel up. It launches on August 2nd with all the new material. We would love to start that channel with 10,000. At the moment, we're around 6.2. So we'd love to get to 10,000 before we actually launch all of it because, as we mentioned, big risk, a lot of changes coming. But
so August 2nd is the official. Hey, we have our new programming slate.
Yeah, well, the programming.
This was just a tease.
Well, the programming slate will start to air on the main channel throughout the next couple of weeks.
You get them on the channel they're already on, and then you say, hey, you like this show?
Yes.
You come over, subscribe to the new one. Makes sense to me.
That's where it's going to live. So we're going to start and instead of like a consistent slate of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of all the new shows, it's going to like pepper in like this one. So it's like, okay, that's where that's going to live. So by the time we get to August 2nd, because there's going to be a couple things happening over the next couple months, I can't do it every day. And then we can still just get the definition of what this show is, understanding. And I think that's that's also the big premise of what I wanted to do with this show. For the big thing is to make sure that I think we talked about like 5 or 6 big things on this show today.
I mean, very big things.
Yeah, but I want to guarantee to the show that you're gonna get at least one major topic on this show, a discussion every time that you tune into it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we came in here. Spoiler alert, not with a huge game plan today, just to kind of make sure the mics work and make sure that old Butterfingers knows how to push the right buttons.
I did all right, I think.
It sounds good as of now.
So far.
It has not gotten out to the world.
It's like,
we have no idea.
It sounds like the Peanuts by the time you play it back.
What channel is Box Office Sunday going to be on?
Box Office Sunday.
I got my paper joke.
That's right. That show, man, we were committed. We were committed.
I was longer than you were.
You were committed to that show though, because more so than more people realize, because we would do that show on Sunday mornings when you didn't want to be up.
Basically missing the first quarter of a game because I was editing it. Yeah.
But that was also at that point when we started it, wasn't I like living across the street from you?
We were right across the street,
right.
And so you might be a little hungover from the night before,
right?
And then we'd want to watch football in the fall, but also occasionally, and then it started to bleed over even more. Is that I would do it by myself on Box Office Monday,
right?
So
wow, old school. I mean, those shows. I mean, it's just such a different landscape now too. How different it is. Like the amount of people that do movie reviews and stuff. Like, remember when we started? There was like 6 people.
Yeah. And we were 2 of them.
Crazy.
Uh-huh. It was us and Love Chat.
Everybody does it now. It's like every time you turn it on, it's like someone's doing a reaction or somebody. And nothing against people for doing it. It's just like at that time, I remember when we were doing it and we would do it, and people were, at the time, YouTube, we kept saying, they're like, we would go into meetings like, oh, YouTube, is it? What about TV? Like, no, it's the internet and it's going to catch on. And like, we would have these conversations all the time.
Oh, you learn very quickly when you're at your grandma's Christmas party. Just don't even bother explaining what you just. I do stand up. That's enough.
But not now. Now, if you say I have a show on the internet, it's almost like when you were like back. It's funny. It's very similar today when you have a friend who's an actor. And they're like, oh, you're an actor. Okay, what, have you done anything? And then they're like, yeah, I was in this play with the guy that wrote this thing. Is about a tuna fish sandwich. And you're like, okay, you're not really an actor. Well, you're an actor, but you're struggling.
Save Pittsburgh. Yeah.
But then it's that scene in Notting Hill. You remember that Notting Hill?
I've seen it. I'm sorry.
You've never seen Notting Hill?
Your wife is gonna kill me.
Man. All right. So Notting Hill, there's a scene where Julia Roberts is she goes on this. She's like about as big of a movie star as she is in real life at her prime. Right. And she goes with Hugh Grant, who's just a normal schlub that works at a bookstore. And goes to his.
It wasn't actually a dog. It was his sister. What a psycho.
Jeez. That whole show, I didn't like the end.
Yeah. Well, we cannot get a dog because one time when I was a kid, I had a dog. And when I say dog, I mean my sister.
What was the name of that show?
I don't know. The one with Nicole Kidman. And I don't know.
And the kid that's in everything.
Something.
But anyway, so she goes to this party, and they're asking her a question. The one guy comes in, doesn't know who she is, and she's like, "So you're an actress? Anything I've ever seen you?" And he's like, "Oh, how much did you get paid for your last movie?" And she's like, $10 million. And he's like, "Oh, well, that's pretty good, right?" And then when you look at it with YouTube, right, she was like, if you walked into these people who have these massive channels, and you walk, in, like, hey, do you do? Yeah, I have a show on YouTube. Oh, yeah? What do you do? My friend did one. He got kicked in the balls last week, and he got like 300 views. How about yours? How did it do? About 1.3 million watched my last video. Like,
Jeremy Jahns already left the party in his Ferrari.
Yeah, exactly. That guy, man. He did it right, dude.
I gotta hit him up. Gonna be up in his neck of the woods soon.
He just did it right. It's just like he just focused on one particular thing, and because that's what I was respected about him was that he was just comfortable doing that one thing.
And he had people pulling him in a million different directions, like, hey, can we get you to do this and do this? And he would make a game effort occasionally, but he knew kind of what his path was.
Yeah. Yeah. He said it many times over. He's like, I like doing my thing. And it's like, and he was weird. It's like, I probably could either make more money doing something like this or that too, but I have my energy focused on this because he puts a lot of effort into his movie reviews. Yeah. A lot of and so he's been doing it forever, him and Stuckman.
Happiness is key.
Yeah, man. And happiness was key today, my friend. It was good seeing you, my friend. It was it was a blast. It was a blast today. We'll do this again. Mark Ellis and myself. And this is the big thing show. So this could have me and Mark. It could have me and Steph. It could have me and Roxy or Winston or Kate or whoever. We're gonna have this will be a lot of it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of conversations, and we're gonna talk about a lot of different things. So thank you for joining us here today, Mark. Thanks for being here.
It's a classic Don Barris line where he's on stage doing potluck, and he's telling the audience like, "Hey, we're gonna do our paid regular pops, and you never know who's gonna drop in. Eddie Murphy could come in here." Highly unlikely, but we're not going to turn him away if he does.
Right. Yeah, it's exactly that's what it is.
I believe July 24th tickets are now on sale for I'm going to do a gig up in Seattle.
Good.
So,
well, and I didn't tell you this. So it really, we're about, I'd say 80% sure Schmodown October 9th.
Woo!
That's Saturday.
Is that October 8th is Friday, so October 9th is Saturday.
So what I would assume
in
is
what city?
In
Cincinnati, Ohio.
No, New York, Roulette.
Oh, right. I forgot.
Yes, but the question I had for you is, should we start billing out, maybe put together a show for the 8th?
We might already be in the process. Even more than you know,
look at that,
sir.
a stand-up show, too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, thank you guys so very much for joining us. Make sure you head on over to the SEN Live podcast feed. That is where this show is going to eventually transfer. It's going to become the big thing podcast feed, the SEN Live feed. And go and join SEN Live now. They are going to be live from 11 o'clock to 12 p.m. So make sure you go over there. Go and if you're not subscribed already, you
support.
should.
All that money you wanted to throw to us, give them the Schmobot.
Super
Tell
chat,
them how great this show is.
Schmobots, because we cut that, please do that. That actually would be really funny. For today, I challenge you guys, because we normally, we try to hit those goals of like 800 to 1,000 because it's cut down to 1 hour. Please, and there's no way anybody on that show is going to watch, and they're not going to know this show. They're not going to know.
You don't think they're going to watch?
Not this show. People don't watch anything unless they're on it.
You don't think they're going to watch the Jefferson Starship of the Schmoes?
There's no chance. So
they're not going to watch the Traveling Wilburys?
So let's make this challenge. Because they're going to have no idea what's happening. Let's try to get, because they'll call me and they'll go, "Oh, we did $1,000 today, right?"
Oh, so yeah. Tell them.
Bombard them today with Schmobots. Bombard them with Schmobots, and every single one.
Do you want to tell them it's from us, or do you just want to have them say whatever they want?
Just say, but everyone say whatever comment you say, but then say, and by the way, did you see the Big Thing show? That show is phenomenal. Ellis and Harloff are back. Throw those things.
You usually put your own spin on it.
Yes.
Don't everybody take that exact
Not
sentence.
the same one. You should
say
be creative.
loving the Big Thing.
You should be creative and do that and go in and bombard them, because I want them to be so surprised, like, wait, what the hell is happening every single time? Or even start the Big Thing show says.
It'd be funny if like half of them said and it with Harloff looks great, and then the other half was like Ellis looks great. Right. Like, just be so excited.
And ask them questions about this episode. Ask them, what did you guys think about when Ellis said this? What do you guys think about this?
Oh, they're gonna kill you.
Hey, they'll be happy.
And I'm an accomplice.
You're an accomplice. So please. All right. So we're signing off. Go on over there. Go to SEN Live and bombard them with Schmobots about the Big Thing show.
That's the one-armed man. I'm the doctor who authorized all of it.
And how about this?
Good tune.
A little old school. All right. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.